Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video here. Today we're going to be looking at the series I played against Serral the other day. After my first series that I managed to win against Mana in the ESL Pro Tour Dreamhack Masters, it was time for my second series. I'll be playing 7 series in total in this group of 8. So it's important to at least, try to win against Serral. It's going to be a rough task, but I did my preparation. I prepared it as hard as I could, and I got to a couple of strategies that I liked. So the first strategy I wanted to play here on 2000 Atmosphere is going to be a 4-gate glaive, but it's the variation that Zaun has kind of introduced in the Protoss community over the last week and a half, and that means that you get fast gateway 2 and 3, you get 4 gateway units before warp gate, and you delay your first warp in of all the 3 gateways that finish by about 5 to about 10 seconds. You get it about 4:10. You get the first warp in. That allows you to get 10 adepts at 4:30 with glaives finished, and that means that you should be able to hit the ramp at 4:37, 4:38 with glaives finished, usually slightly before roaches make it out. Now, sadly for me, Serral isn't a complete idiot, so he also of course has some preparations, and he knows that this is a build that is possible, that is viable, and it's relatively easy to scout because it's the only build that includes 4 gateway units before warp gate finishes. So I'm just harassing these drones a little bit, as you can see. I'm like, okay, this is feeling okay, this is feeling good. I felt pretty fast today. Actually really fast today. Just pretty clean as well in my mechanics. I'm like, okay, this is going to be one of those days where I feel pretty good about my own skill. And I'm, pretty happy with that. So, to get more into the details of this build order and kind of what it's supposed to do, I kind of want some leverage here into later pushes, perhaps. I want to get some momentum. Whenever you're playing a glaive build, you always want to be able to kind of keep going, because it's a build that really builds off momentum. Unlike Stargate, which you never have momentum and you're more a defensive player, when you play something like this, you really just, the only thing you care about is that you get momentum and you can keep doing things, and you can deny creep here, and you can move out here and deny a little bit more creep there, and a little bit, you just keep being able to kind of do things. And that's the most important thing, is that you always have the momentum on your side. So here I see his Ling trying to come in. I'm like, okay, that's a free Ling. Thank you very much. Start myself a Stalker as well. And at this point, I'll be looking into getting 2 more gateways. And really get them pretty fast. So 2 extra gateways. And the gateways won't finish before warp gate research finishes, but that's completely fine, because I don't need to start my warp in immediately, because I'm going to be delaying that a little bit. You see I'm cutting a probe here and there. That is to get everything out properly in time. 4th gateway is going down as well. You see I'm staying at a very low count of workers. Now what's pissing me off is that he managed to scout that. I kind of got tricked because he moved towards the bottom side there. He came from the right, moved towards the bottom, then poked his head up. Didn't manage to get that dude, that overlord, which actually did annoy me a little bit. And from here on out, I'll just be getting 3 chrono boost on the glaives. And here comes the first warp, and I actually kind of messed it up a little bit, as my 3rd gateway was delayed just slightly too much, and also my 4th unit finished about 2 seconds too late. So you see my first warp in actually is 4:12. That's a 2-second delay, which might not sound a lot, but actually is a pretty decent amount if you're working with build orders this tight. I just full wall temporarily while I'm trying to push away this overlord. I don't see any Ling run by happening, so I'm like, okay, I can send my dude back, go in here, and I'm warping in 4 extra adepts. Now you see 4:35, 4:34. This isn't the quickest. This isn't what I hoped. I accidentally select the shade there rather than the correct adept, which really did frustrate me. I end up not quite getting that queen with the proper shot, and then I get a big surround on all of my units, which is really painful. Here the big pile hits me as well. I lose a lot of units, and at this point I realize, Oh, crackers. I just lost my momentum. And losing your momentum when you're playing this build is one of the worst things that can happen. It's going to be really difficult for me to get any damage done. I just lost all of my adepts that I initially had because of poor control. Taking a third base is going to be difficult because I have no units at home. Basically, I'm feeling dead at this point. I'm like, oh crap. This is not good. I have to warp in 2 adepts at home to try and take this base, and I'm looking for some damage with these adepts, but it's just not happening. It's just not happening. I managed to at least keep these bad boys alive. Trying to poke into the main base, but sadly there's a queen there, so not going to be able to do too much there. Row away goes down as I want to be going into disruptors just for safety. I don't want to die against some type of Ravager, Ling, Roach push. So I decide, oh, it's time to get some disruptors. So even though it looks like not too much has happened right now, I'm feeling very poor about this game. Obviously has 2 reasons. A, I'm playing against Serral, and B, my early game went pretty poor. In my head at least, like I didn't quite gain the momentum that I wanted. And I'm also relatively blind, which is very, very annoying for me. Gonna try to get that observer. Saw him build an overseer, or sorry, try to get that creep tumor. To end up getting it. Go for a little bit of a run by with these adepts. And I add a couple more gateways. Also want to be starting my blink soon in case of Mutalisk. Of course, we're hitting the timing right now where Mutalisk could be coming out soon. So I should be getting a little bit careful with that. Now here I do something that I'm not very proud of. And that is that I pretend like Serral is an idiot. And whenever you pretend that Serral is an idiot, you usually come out the idiot yourself. I just clear a watchtower with 3 adepts, and I'm like, oh, I probably forgot about the adepts, which this might work against worse Zerg players, but this doesn't work against the top guys. They actually do kind of have object permanence. They know that, you know, if adepts went to the tower, there's a likelihood that they're gonna go for a run by, and he probably already was on the way to clear the tower. So that was very sloppy by me. It loses me 3 adepts. It loses me a little bit of vision on that far left side. And it just loses me money again as well, which I don't really have too much of. You see my army is absolutely tiny for 7 minutes. So yeah, I'm not feeling great right now in this game against Serral. One of the main things that I'm struggling with is vision on the left side of the map. I am seeing that he has a bunch of Ravagers and Roachers, which made me happy. I was afraid that he was going to stay on a very low Roach Ravager count, which he probably could have, because I wasn't being aggressive at all. And in that case get a lot of Ling Bane, which would be really powerful against my army. Luckily for me that wasn't the case, and he decides, hey, let's see if we can move out a little bit. I also decide, hey, let's see if we can move out a little bit, but we really can't, like no matter what I say here. Like it's just not really possible for me to move out. I see that he has an overseer there and decide to clear a couple of creep tumors and just hope that he can't kill me. Honestly, at this point I'm really afraid he's just gonna jump on me because my army is still absolutely tiny. I move into a pretty decent supply block as well. I'm upset that I lose that disruptor, but life is life. And, you know, sometimes you lose a disruptor because the rally actually, oh my god, these banelings. Just like in the real game, I didn't kind of realize what was happening. So these banelings just hit a bunch of probes. I was feeling pretty bummed out at this point. I had a bad feeling about it. Decided to move, I think, my observer towards the left side. Like my vision on the left side is just so bad. I was so afraid of taking the forward base that I didn't take the forward base, but that really messes with your vision because this right side usually is well covered. His control of these run bys is actually ridiculously good usually, and it's pissing me off. I do manage to get this baneling run by. I'm like, okay, this is a spot he's gonna try to keep abusing, you know. It's very obvious to me at this point. It's like, okay, he's just gonna keep going there again and again and again. So I send the observer there, like I said earlier. My main issue is with the vision because it took that far right side base. I get a Templar Archives. I'm afraid of potential hiving coming. I'm completely in the dark. Like I have no money. I have no units. I have no vision. And I have no scouting info either. So I'm trying to get some information at least. It's like, hey, can't. There's spores there. So I fly into the main base spore. And I can't even see if he has a hive or not. I'm like, well, this is completely useless. I send another 2 adepts towards the left side. Looking to get that tower back. And I'm like, the one thing that actually surprises me, also now looking back in this game, is that his creep threat has been really poor this game. Like actually, he took the forward third pace and he's barely getting up the ramp. And now don't get me wrong, he's been playing fantastic everywhere else, but his creep threat actually has been pretty mediocre for someone his level. Like, I haven't been able to attack in a very long time because he is such a dominant early game. Just gonna go for a little bit of a run by, but I semi-catch that. He built some mutas, and this made me very happy because I think this is just a bad call getting mutas at this point. I'm like, okay, if you want to get mutas, that's just a lot of supply that isn't in units that can fight my ground army. So even though I realize I'm still very far behind and I'm not in a good spot, this is really just giving me a lifeline. Because he also could have been going into, for example, Vipers, or he could have been going into something like Broodlords, or just a crap ton of Banelings, really, and attack me. That would have been way scarier for me than what is happening right now. Like, I'm not actually that afraid. Now I realize I don't quite have Storm yet, and I'm pretty upset about that for obvious reasons. So, yeah, I'm gonna lose a bunch of workers, but at least to keep my Templar alive, which makes me happy. Now I decide, okay, well, after this, it probably soon is going to be time for me to move out. Get a couple of extra Archons. So I'm just really, what I'm doing is just I'm preparing for the... What am I preparing for? I'm preparing for the push that I want to do soon. He's gonna go in with a couple more Banelings. Here I make a mistake. I send my Templar into the Banelings and I actually almost lose two. But I was just in time with my Archon morph. That actually was really quite sloppy. Otherwise I have slightly more storms, which would have been much better, obviously. It's always better to have more storms than less storms. It sucks for me that I didn't clear the creep earlier, but I really haven't been capable of moving out at all. Just get a full wall because I see a run-by coming in, including some Banelings, which obviously is going to be rough. My supply is pretty good, and he invested a lot in mutas earlier. So even though my army sucks, I'm like, okay, maybe, you know, it is perhaps possible. Like I had worse fights. This is a very good shot with a disruptor. So I kind of missed two shots, then I hit one. It sucked that these Banelings just finished as my storm was finishing. If I get these, this might be a way more realistic chance at winning this fight. I'm sending like kind of like a zoning shot that doesn't do much of anything. This shot doesn't hit too much either, but these storms were very good. I still have one more shot coming in. It's gonna hit at least that Ravager, and the storms are very good. I pick up the Templar in the final moment, but he just has a little bit too much here, and I don't. I type out GG, and that is it for game number 1. Game 2 is being played on Jagannatha, as you can see. Once again, I'm opting for a quick scout. Now, I saw in his match history and in some replays that I had received from close friends and collaborators is that he liked to play pool first on this map. But I didn't quite register. So I thought of a response to pool first that I liked, but I didn't quite think about the implications about blocking the natural. So he gets... He gets a, well, not a slight lead, but he kind of wins the mind game there, I guess you could say. Because I go block his natural. He moves towards the left side, which already was semi-suspicious. And I decide, okay, I can just go up safely. I don't need to pylon block this. I think this is just your regular edge first on the third base. So I go up, and here I see something that confuses me, that worries me, and that is... well, I actually don't see it yet, but there's going to be a pool first, and I don't realize. So it's actually kind of unfortunate. Like, I always should check for the pool first. Now I see the pool on the bottom side. Well, actually, I don't see it yet. Okay, now I see it. I'm like, oh, wait a second, Kevin, what's happening here? Check the timing of that pool. I'm like, okay, that looks pretty okay. I can just get my Nexus down. I can get my Cyber Core. There's no gas here either, which is absolutely fine. And I'm moving down there, but I already know what I'm gonna see, you know? Like if you see the shoes of the tennis teacher of your wife in front of your bedroom, do not open the bedroom door, my friends. You know, I didn't need to go down here. I already knew what was gonna happen. I knew 4 links were gonna come down. Second pylon can just be built in the wall in this case. Absolutely beautiful. And I can just chrono out an adept and be absolutely fine. There's no way you can do anything. Once I saw that that fourth ling was also chasing my worker, it made me even happier because it was like, okay, this is just so sick. I can actually just, he can never with 3 lings take out that pylon on the right side. It's actually impossible. I can chrono out an adept and I can just full wall temporarily with a pylon, and there is no shot that he is going to be able to push in. Now, my follow-up, this is the suckiest thing, or this is the worst thing about it, is that my follow-up will get scouted. Because my second pylon is in the wall, I can't build a third pylon before I build my tech. My tech would be too much delayed. I'm like, okay, I'll just show him what I have. It's not that big of a deal, I wanted to play Stargate anyway. Probably should have put the Stargate on the left side, now that I'm rushing this back. But I honestly hadn't prepared for building placement. I had prepared for what to do against the pool first and how I wanted to follow up, like how many adepts I wanted to make, etc, etc. But I hadn't quite considered exactly like, hey, where do I want to place my Stargate? That was my bad. It's not gonna matter too much in this game though. Don't worry about it. So once my Stargate finished, I'm like, okay, at least I want to get a Void Ray first, try and see if I can get a couple of Overlords out. I do regret going for triple adept. I think I should have played double adept. And double adept, double gate, third base. Thinking back of it, maybe actually just single gate would have been fine because I already have a full wall. So your opponent kind of had a sucky early pool and then you follow up with something with a very fast third base. I think would be kind of cool. I would have been able to get my third base at this point after second Oracle. Now I'm getting it after fourth pylon, 2 gate, 3 adept, which is just kind of late. You're getting it like, well, actually I'm getting a 5th pylon as well. This I hadn't prepared for. I should have built a 4th pylon over here, so it delays it by another 100 minerals for no real reason. And yeah, I mean, 410 for a Nexus, it's just really, really late. And you see I'm also struggling to keep money because I'm just kind of have too much supply. My Robo is delayed by about 10, 11, 12 seconds, something like that. Of course, the Adept, the extra pylon, all of these things kind of add up end of the day. This was a very good defense. I'm actually kind of happy with that. Like that was, I don't want to say proud, but it was good thinking. You know, it was pretty quick there. I set my Oracle back. This could have gone a lot worse. I kind of semi-forgot my gases there, and I think I did an unintentional probe cut as well. So honestly, it didn't play the tightest in this game. So I think some mistakes here in the preparation. Now, I'm kind of feeling a Queen Walk at this point, like it's Jagannatha, and my opponent isn't an idiot. Then I don't know. I was just it had a Queen Walk feeling. He trades 1 adept for about 8-9 links. I'm pretty happy with that. It's gonna be a good trade for me. And I'm just thinking to myself, okay, what do I want to get? I want to get Disruptors ASAP. That's really the only thing that can save you in these situations. And I start my +1. I don't see the queens yet. I'm like, okay, we're feeling okay. Now I see some... now I see gases going down. I see an Evo chamber. I did see queens, but I'm like, hey, wait a second. Is this actually going to be a queen walk? And I kind of got confused here, because who gets an Evo chamber and extra gases in such a late moment? And then I'm like, wait, this actually is a queen walk. And I'm starting to get pissed off a little bit already, of course. I'm getting a battery, I'm getting another battery, and I'm like, okay, this seems like a real queen walk. Now I realize that the Evo chamber was a fake. So Serral with the good old fake Evo chamber. It's truly a classic. Did really trick me, because now I finished my gases. My extra cannons are pretty late. So he actually did a pretty okay... Like, I didn't completely commit to the defense. Even though in the back of my head I was like, okay, it's probably going to be it. I still didn't really commit to it. Here I wasn't defending with 1 extra cannon, which sucked. Doesn't matter, because he's going to end up going towards my natural, where I'm only going to have a single cannon ready for now. He has a bunch of queens, which isn't the greatest for me. I wish I had like 2 more cannons here. That would be super helpful. Sadly, right now I only have 1. I don't get any of the Ravagers, which is painful. If you don't get any of the... Unless you can 2-shot the queens, getting the queens is only good if you can hold your natural for a very long time. But if you can get Ravagers, that delays the death of your buildings, which is super big. It means your Disruptors can shoot more. So initially, usually you just, as long as you only have one disruptor, usually you just want to kill Ravagers and you're going to be absolutely fine because it's the main DPS against buildings. Here I'm kind of getting stuck because I don't have enough energy on my Oracle in the natural. So I'm like, hey, I can't actually get my disruptors in a position where they can shoot, and it's pissing me off because I want to shoot stuff. Here I realized I lost all of the workers in my natural. I lost the game, and with losing the game, I also lost the series. So that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed the look inside of a losing pro gamer against Serral. And I'll hopefully see all of you next time. Thank you very much for watching, and bye-bye.